All right, everyone, here's the long-awaited round 5 recap of our Kings and Kaisers game, Operation Tannenberg. I apologize for getting to this so late. It was a very busy weekend for me, and round 6 has already begun. So I have not watched any of that. All I know is one very big spoiler, but I'm not going to reveal it yet for this recap. So let's go to the tracker. Tracker is, again, looking terrible for the Allies, but hey, we're fighting back. We might be able to close the gap. We'll see. Right now, the score is 12-3. So the 3 points that the Allies have are the Russian Revolution point, which we will definitely be losing next round, favorable trade, and Africa. Right now, the Central Powers have the Western Front point because they captured Belgium and Lorraine. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 6 Western Front territories, whereas the French have 2. So they have that point right now. Favorable trade the Allies have still, of course. This turn, the Austria-Hungary secured the Balkans for the Central Powers. What else happened this turn? The Black Sea, that was previous round. They still have the Middle East, still have the Pacific Colonies point, have Empire point by a long margin, and they have Belgrade, the cities of Belgrade, Sofia, all 3 of the minor cities points, and a new one this turn is Verdun, the city of Verdun, which is the French city in Lorraine. So it's covered up there by some infantry, as you can see right there. So still, the challenges continue for the Allies. So let's start over on the Eastern Front. Eastern Front is looking very dire for the Russians. Right now, at the end of round 5, the Central Powers control 8 territories in Russia. They need 7 for the revolution to happen, but it's 7 at the end of Russia's combat phase. So Russia did manage to stave them off one last valiant round, going and making very bold attacks, but this is very, very likely the end for the Russian Empire, and we're going to see the Russian Civil War break out, which should be interesting. So that'll be the Soviet Union, well, not the Union yet, but the Soviet Republic versus the White Russian movement. So we'll see that unfold. So Prussian Gamer is still going to be playing Russia, but in a very different context, and MooseCow will be playing the Soviets. Other than that, nothing too notable here. The Ottomans are just being antagonistic, keeping things contested. The Austro-Hungarians still parked in western Ukraine, and then the Germans, their big forces up in Karelia there with reinforcements from Poland. No, sorry, not Poland, Belarus and Estonia. And I did take Finland, or reinforced it rather. I took Finland last round. So, moving on from there, like I mentioned before, the Balkans have been taken by Austria-Hungary pretty handily. They built another fighter, and they've secured Veneto pretty well. The Italians did take Piedmont back, so Italians did do something, and the Italians did manage to spend their $35 that they've been, the money they've been rolling over every single turn. They finally spent it, and it was all on ground units right here. So 5 infantry, 5 artillery. And they got their technology gift from the U.S. and placed it this turn, improved sea mines. Came a turn too late, I'm afraid. Let's see over here in Ottoman land. The Ottomans are moving forces into Mesopotamia, sensing that the British are starting to feel a little bit more bold now. The British took Persia. The Ottomans moved some forces back into Caucasus, built mostly ground units. They built their first fighter over in Marmara. And nothing much here in Palestine. From what I recall, I don't think there was anything built or sent down to Palestine. But they have their bulk of their fleet here in 31, and they took Cyprus away from the British. So interesting. They got a little national objective for that too. As far as Africa, not a lot of changes as well. The Germans did send a sizable contingent up here in the British East Africa, and they've still got their navy parked in 38. So that transport is being quite a pain because it can swing around anywhere and take territories. So the Allies have just been scattering infantry to make it a fight wherever they might land. The Austro-Hungarians, I forgot to mention, in the Mediterranean, they are convoying Italy to the max here over in Zone 29. So that's painful. Italians just consolidated in Tuscany. The Austro-Hungarians still have their 2 infantry in Algeria, which have now been met by the Americans. So the Americans have joined the war in this turn, which is great. They activated Cuba. They've activated Brazil, so all those units will become American. They've built more transports, one more cruiser, and they're gearing up. So they got 6 transports over here in Season 15. They also activated Portugal for the British because it's British aligned. Landed a big force over here, landed a small little force in Portugal. And yeah, the Americans are getting busy here, so it's a matter of, are they going to go into the Mediterranean? Are they going to go in Africa? Are they going to go in Europe? You know, or are they going to South America? I don't know, it'd be weird. I don't know. There is an American cruiser down here convoying Chile. What else? Let's think here. Oh yeah, the British did have their transport in 12. Can't talk. In Season 2 at the beginning of the turn, and brought 2 Canadians over, and built 4 more ships. I believe it was 3 cruisers and 1 sub down in Season 20. So the Allies do have a very good naval advantage there in Season 20 and in Season 15, and they're going to need it. So the British hopped back on those French transports. They've offloaded some more units in Picardy, and the new repositioning in the Western Front, whereas the Germans were stocked up in Belgium, and this turn they moved down to Verdun here in Lorraine. The French split forces between Burgundy and Picardy, as you can see here. So they have pretty much an equal force in both territories, basically baiting the Germans to attack one of them. And they have trench works in each one of those. In Picardy, it's trench works with barbed wire, so you get they can absorb 1 extra hit. Trench works usually absorb 3 hits. So yeah, and the French are back in the fighter business. They built a fighter of their own as well. So, and as far as technology for this turn, let me try to remember. Well, I did mention the Italians. I think the Austro-Hungarians got the improved sea mines as well, or was that the previous turn that they put in Dalmatia? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't really remember too much about any notable techs, but trench works have been very hot this game. Improved sea mines have been the secondary hot tech as well. And I forgot to talk about the Pacific and China. So the British, with their 2 transports in 61, where was it in 61? Can't remember. Or no, it was in German New Guinea it was in 59 and came over here. They attacked Paulo Island and did not take it, unfortunately, and they lost a unit actually in the battle, so that was kind of unfortunate for the Allies. The Japanese took German Samoa, as you can see, and they've got more transports coming in, built 2 more, ready to take care of business here. Moved the transport to Taiwan as well. And the British cruisers from 61 moved to 43, so we'll see what happens there. The British have not been able to make use of their naval port in West India yet. And China. So I got these dice here. I forgot to mention it at the last recap, but the score is tied for China. So as you can see in the tracker, nobody has the China point because nobody has the advantage right now. So the Republic of China, the Central Power Aligned faction, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 territories. Tibet does not count because it's not original Chinese. And then as you can see, the Empire of China, the allied faction, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Shenxi is contested. There's actually, should be an Empire of China infantry in there. I don't know what happened to it. So yeah, that's actually looking interesting. It was looking kind of dire last turn, but Rommel is really starting to turn it around a little bit, make it interesting. So that's cool. All right, I think I got it all. Round 6 is going to be a very interesting one because we're seeing the fall of Russia and the rise of America and the West. So I hope the fate of Russia point goes in our favor. Now, the fate of Russia point is basically kind of like how the National Protection War works with China. It's whoever controls the most original Russian territories in this instance. So between the Soviets and the Whites, who controls the most of Russian territories? That does not include Mongolia. So it should be interesting. And update on the roster, the teams. Chris Ironsides, actually his name's Commander Ironsides. I keep calling him Chris Ironsides. He had to back out of the game because he has quite a busy schedule. So we talked it over as a team, and Prussian Gamer will continue on, of course, as the White Russians, and he will take over Italy for me. So he will be the White Russians, Italy, and I think that's it. Can't remember. And I will be taking U.S. And US. No, wait, I'm not taking US. Sorry, he is taking US. I'm taking Britain and Japan. So I will be doing France, Britain, and Japan all back to back. So that'll be kind of easier video wise for me and everybody else. He will be taking Prussian Gamer will be taking White Russia, the Americans, and the Italians, and of course Rommel will be kicking butt over here in China. So, all right, that's it. Just one last look at the tracker here. I have the Empire Roundel way off the tracker because they're way beyond 96 IPCs. Just do a little scan here. You might not be able to read it from there, but they still have the same minor cities as last turn. Yeah, score is, what was it, 12-3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12-3. Currently a blowout, but I think we're going to close the gap a little bit, and I hope we can make this a game. Can't wait for the next few turns. Take care, guys.